It starts as a ritual, quiet and familiar. A warm cup cradled in your hands, steam rising softly as morning breaks or the evening winds down. You've done it for years, maybe decades. This drink comforts you, grounds you, keeps you company in the still hours. It's part of who you are now. And yet, as your body has aged, that very comfort may be stirring something unseen deep inside your chest. The rhythm you once took for granted, the steady, faithful beat of your heart, may be slowing, skipping, or faltering without warning. You wouldn't even know it until it's too late, because you feel fine until suddenly you don't. There's something unsettling about the idea that what you trust could quietly betray you. But that's how the heart works after 60. It's more sensitive now, more responsive to changes in hydration, minerals, medication, and yes, what you drink every single day, especially the one you believe is helping you. Seniors often reach for it because it promises alertness, energy, even a sense of youth. It's often praised by doctors for other benefits, but there's a hidden risk, one that becomes far more dangerous with age, not because the drink has changed, but because you have. And your heart? It's listening to every sip. You might notice it first as a flutter when you lie down, a skip when you stand too quickly, a pounding after an ordinary moment of stress. At first you brush it off. Maybe you even smile and say, that's just age. But the truth is more precise and more correctable. These little disruptions, if left unchecked, can lead to something more serious. Arrhythmias, silent AFib, or worse. All from a drink you never thought twice about. All because no one warned you that your heart is more electrically fragile than ever before. The good news is that the damage isn't final. You can step in. You can adjust. You can protect the one organ that never rests, never pauses, and never gives up on you. But to do that, you need to see what's really in that cup and how it's quietly changing your pulse from steady to unstable. You've heard it said 1,000 times. A cup a day keeps the fog away. And for many seniors, that cup is non-negotiable. It's the first thing you reach for. Maybe it's coffee. Maybe it's black tea, maybe it's one of those energy-boosting drinks marketed with words like natural, revitalizing, or heart-healthy. But what's rarely said is that these drinks, especially when consumed daily, don't just wake up your mind. They jolt your heart. And in a body over 60, that jolt can be more than your system can handle. Caffeine is often the unspoken culprit. Not because it's inherently evil, but because your aging heart handles it differently now. When you were younger, your body metabolized it quickly. Your nervous system could take the hit. But after 60, the enzymes that break caffeine down start to slow. That means caffeine lingers longer, builds up more easily, and continues to stimulate long after the cup is empty. For someone with a healthy, youthful heart, that's manageable. But for a senior with a slightly weakened electrical system, even unknowingly, it's like pouring accelerant on an unstable fire. You may not feel it right away. That's what makes it so dangerous. Caffeine doesn't always make your heart race dramatically. Sometimes it just causes subtle irregularities. A pause, a double beat, a sudden flutter when you're sitting still. These moments often pass without pain, but over time they can stretch your heart's rhythm out of alignment. For those on blood pressure medications, beta blockers, or heart rate regulators, caffeine can counteract their effects or magnify side effects like dizziness, fatigue, or breathlessness. All this from something as simple as your daily drink. But here's what they don't tell you. Moderation is no longer a suggestion, it's a lifeline. That second or third cup you used to enjoy with ease could now be pushing your heart towards silent chaos. And while caffeine may feel like a boost, your body is quietly paying a price. The heart doesn't just beat, it communicates. And it's telling you now in flutters and skips and strange silences that it's time to listen differently. You've been told for years to stay hydrated. Doctors, family, friends, they all remind you to drink more water, especially as you age. And they're not wrong. Dehydration is a real risk for seniors. But here's what they rarely explain. There's a line and it's thinner than you think. Too little water weakens the body, but too much, especially when combined with certain medications or low-sodium diets, can dilute the critical minerals your heart depends on to beat correctly. That's right, even hydration, when misunderstood, can lead your heart into dangerous territory. Electrolytes like potassium, magnesium, and sodium are the unseen architects of your heart's rhythm. They send the electrical signals that keep every beat on track. But as you age, your body becomes more sensitive to shifts in these minerals. And drinks you've grown accustomed to, like flavored waters, certain teas, or even heart-healthy smoothies, may contain compounds that flush these minerals out too quickly or fail to replenish them entirely. It's not about drinking too much water, it's about drinking without balance. And balance becomes everything after 60. This imbalance often shows up in subtle ways at first. Leg cramps, fatigue, lightheadedness when standing. Then one day you feel your heart skip, or flutter, or pound. Your doctor may call it atrial fibrillation or benign arrhythmia, but underneath the label is a common thread. Your body's electrical wiring is missing a few crucial elements, and your daily drinking habit may be the reason why. The very routine meant to protect your health can quietly drain your heart's reserves until there's just not enough left to keep rhythm steady. What's worse is that many electrolyte-depleting drinks are marketed as healthy. Herbal detox teas, over-the-counter hydration powders, sugar-free sports drinks. Seniors turn to them with the best intentions, but the result can be a heart working harder to stay in sync. It's not about drinking less, it's about drinking smarter. Because after 60, your heart isn't just reacting to your choices, it's relying on them. And the wrong drink, taken regularly, can cause your rhythm to falter long before anyone sees the danger coming. It's stocked in every grocery aisle, praised in countless articles, and even recommended by some health experts. You've seen it in commercials with smiling seniors walking through gardens, holding a tall glass filled with deep red or rich purple liquid. Pomegranate juice, beet juice, even certain green smoothies. These drinks promise to support blood pressure, circulation, and vitality, and in the right context, they can. But what they also carry, often hidden beneath their labels, is an overload of natural sugars and compounds that may quietly trigger heart rhythm disturbances in aging bodies. Here's the hidden truth. Many so-called superfood drinks are loaded with fructose, a type of sugar that your body processes differently after 60. What used to be a refreshing pick-me-up can now spike your blood sugar, causing a cascade of insulin surges and crashes. And that affects far more than energy. Your heart is deeply tied to blood sugar levels. When those levels swing too high or drop too low, your heart's electrical system can respond with erratic beats. A skipped pulse here, a racing episode there. It may not feel urgent until it suddenly is. Beyond sugar, these drinks often contain high concentrations of nitrates or oxalates, substances that can interfere with kidney function or blood pressure medication. For seniors managing chronic conditions, especially heart failure or atrial fibrillation, this can set off a chain reaction. You drink what you think is heart healthy, but it interacts with your body like a stimulant, raising nitric oxide too quickly, shifting blood pressure too fast, or triggering fluctuations in fluid retention, all of which can destabilize your heart's natural rhythm. You feel off, uneasy, but you can't quite place why. The real issue isn't that these drinks are bad, it's that they're misunderstood. When consumed in small occasional amounts with medical guidance, they might offer benefits. But when sipped daily without knowing their impact on your current medications, your kidney function, or your electrolyte levels, they become silent agitators. The label may say, supports heart health, but your heart may be quietly disagreeing. Because after 60, it's not about what worked once, it's about what works now. And sometimes even a good thing taken in the wrong way becomes a slow unraveling of your rhythm. You brew it to wind down, to soothe, to signal to your body that it's time to rest. The scent fills the room, warm and familiar. You may drink it after dinner, before bed, or even during the quiet moments of your day. Chamomile, hibiscus, lemon balm. These teas are cherished for their calming effects, and they can help. But not all herbal teas are as gentle as they appear. Especially when consumed daily, and especially after 60, some of these seemingly harmless brews can stir more than peace. They can stir your heart. Take hibiscus tea, for instance. Touted for lowering blood pressure, it's become a staple for many seniors seeking natural support. But for those already on antihypertensives, its potent compounds can push blood pressure too low. That sudden drop doesn't just leave you dizzy, it robs your heart of the steady pressure it needs to keep rhythm. The same applies to teas with strong diuretic effects, like dandelion or parsley. They may help flush the system, but they also flush essential minerals, potassium, magnesium, that your heart depends on. And when those levels dip, even slightly, your heart can slip out of sync. You won't feel it like a bolt of lightning. You might feel it as a fog, a slow wave of tiredness, a strange flutter while sitting still. The body, in its quiet wisdom, always tries to adapt, but adaptation has limits. And when herbal teas are consumed daily, layered on top of medications, or paired with a diet already low in minerals, the result is not relaxation, it's instability. Your heartbeat may soften, pause, or thump unexpectedly. You may think it's stress or aging, but it could be the cup you trusted to bring you calm. The lesson here isn't to avoid herbal teas altogether, it's to understand their true power. Plants are medicine, and medicine, even when natural, has effects, especially on a heart that's been through decades of service. So before you brew that nightly cup, pause. Ask yourself not just how it makes you feel, but how it may be changing the rhythm you depend on. Because peace shouldn't come at the price of your pulse. It's just a splash, a tiny swirl of comfort that turns bitter into smooth, turning a plain cup into a moment of pleasure. You add it without thinking. Maybe it's dairy, maybe it's non-dairy, maybe it's vanilla or hazelnut. It tastes like nostalgia, like home. But inside that innocent splash lies a hidden storm, one that can slowly burden your arteries, raise inflammation, and subtly strain the electrical rhythm of your heart. After 60, your body can't afford to ignore what even a few tablespoons of creamer can do. Many creamers, especially the flavored or shelf-stable ones, are packed with hydrogenated oils, also known as trans fats. Though many brands have shifted to alternatives, trace amounts still linger, and even low doses can affect older hearts. These fats thicken the blood, inflame vessel linings, and can slow circulation. When blood moves sluggishly, your heart compensates, beating harder, faster, or in unpredictable rhythms. Over time, that compensation becomes exhaustion. You feel tired after meals, restless at night, or suddenly breathless doing things that once felt easy. And all the while, you keep adding that little splash, unaware of its weight. Even plant-based creamers aren't always safer. Many are filled with stabilizers, gums, and artificial sweeteners, ingredients that can disrupt gut health and indirectly stress your heart. Some introduce unexpected sodium or phosphates, which can throw off mineral balance and hydration. For seniors on diuretics, heart meds, or dealing with kidney concerns, this imbalance is especially risky. It's not just about cholesterol anymore, it's about how your daily habits affect the beat-to-beat decisions your heart must make to keep you upright and alive. It's easy to overlook, it doesn't feel like an indulgence, but what's small in measure can be large in impact. The daily creamer isn't evil, but it is a variable, and at this stage in life, every variable counts. If your heart's been feeling off, if your rhythm's changed, your energy dipped, your sleep disturbed, look not just at your medications, but at your mug. What you stir in may be stirring trouble, because even a comfort, when repeated without awareness, can cloud more than your coffee. It can cloud your body's most sacred beat. You reach for it thinking you've made a better choice. The label says 0 sugar, 0 calories. It promises to be guilt-free. And for someone watching their weight, their blood sugar, or their heart, it feels like a win. You crack open the bottle or brew the packet, satisfied you're doing right by your body. But deep inside, your heart may not be celebrating, because that sugar-free sip, it might be one of the most deceptive threats to your rhythm and your peace, especially after the age of 60. Artificial sweeteners like sucralose, aspartame, and acesulfame potassium aren't just sweet on your tongue. They're complex compounds that interact with your brain, your gut, and yes, your heart. Newer research reveals that for some individuals, especially seniors, these chemicals can disrupt the communication between your nervous system and your cardiac muscle. They interfere with vagus nerve signaling, impact insulin response, and can even heighten the sensitivity of your heart to stress signals. The result? Irregular beats, a racing pulse after a meal, that sudden jolt of anxiety with no clear reason. And it all traces back to the healthy drink you've come to rely on. What makes this even more dangerous is the way these sweeteners are used. They're not just in diet sodas. They're hidden in flavored waters, protein shakes, electrolyte drinks, and even teas labeled natural. Over time, consistent intake can alter gut bacteria in ways that lead to increased inflammation, a well-documented risk factor for atrial fibrillation and heart palpitations. And because these changes are microscopic and gradual, you don't see them coming. You just wake up one day more fatigued, more irritable, more out of rhythm than before. You don't have to fear every sweet sip, but you do need to read every label, because what poses as safe may be stirring instability. The body after 60 is more discerning, more reactive, and more easily thrown off balance. And your heart? It's asking for real nourishment, not chemical illusions. If you truly want to protect your rhythm, start by questioning not just the sugar, but the substitute. Because sweet without sugar isn't always sweet for your heart. It doesn't come in a flashy can anymore. It might be in a sleek bottle with minimalist text. It might be sold in health food aisles or tucked next to the supplements. It might even call itself clean energy or plant-based vitality. But at its core, it's still an energy drink. And if you're over 60, it could be quietly draining the very life force it claims to support. These wellness-branded beverages often blend caffeine, adaptogens, herbs, and stimulants that push your heart to work harder in a body that now needs more gentleness, not more force. You may not recognize the names guarana, yerba mate, ginseng, green coffee extract, but their effects are real. They stimulate the adrenal glands, elevate cortisol, and in many seniors cause a chain reaction, increased blood pressure, faster heart rate, and unpredictable rhythm patterns. What starts as a burst of focus may lead to a crash. What begins as a gentle lift may end in palpitations you can't explain. These drinks blur the line between supplement and stimulant, and for a heart that's already walking a tighter wire with age, that line becomes a risk. What's particularly misleading is the way these drinks market themselves as heart supportive. They'll boast about antioxidants, plant nutrients, or even no added sugar. And while some ingredients may indeed offer benefits in isolation, the synergistic effect, especially when paired with medications or underlying conditions, can be destabilizing. Seniors with even mild heart arrhythmias may find their symptoms flaring. Those on blood thinners or beta blockers may unknowingly create dangerous overlaps. You don't always feel it right away, but your heart does, in its beat, in its rhythm, in its hesitations. The truth is, after 60, you don't need stimulation, you need stability. Energy that's built from nourishment, not provoked by force. If your drink needs to rev up your system to make you feel alive, ask yourself, what's it costing you? Your rhythm is sacred now. It deserves calm, it deserves consistency, and most of all, it deserves to be heard before something skips too far off beat to return. That's the quiet danger of these new energy drinks. They dress like wellness, but they pulse like chaos. It doesn't come from a bottle, a packet, or a can. It's not a substance, it's a behavior, a habit you've likely kept for years without questioning. The act of sipping slowly, constantly, throughout the day. It sounds harmless. It even feels healthy. But here's the surprising truth. For many seniors, especially those managing heart medications, fluid retention, or irregular blood pressure, constant sipping can quietly strain your heart. Because when you drink all day, without pause, without attention, you may be overwhelming your body's ability to balance, filter, and regulate its most vital signals. The human body, especially after 60, is not a bottomless reservoir. The kidneys process fluids more slowly. The hormonal systems that regulate salt, potassium, and blood volume begin to shift. And for those with even mild heart disease, these changes mean that constant fluid intake, even of water, can result in fluid buildup. That excess water doesn't just go to your stomach, it enters your bloodstream, your tissues, your lungs. And the heart, trying to manage this load, may begin to beat irregularly, not because it's weak, but because it's overwhelmed. You might feel this as a tightness in your chest, a subtle breathlessness when lying down, swelling in the ankles by evening, or simply a sense of fatigue that no nap seems to fix. These aren't random symptoms. They're quiet signals that your heart is working overtime to compensate for a hydration habit that no longer fits your body's changing capacity. The danger grows when this habit is paired with salt-sensitive diets, diuretic medications, or conditions like AFib or congestive heart failure. What seems healthy becomes harmful, not all at once, but drip by drip. This isn't a call to fear water, it's a call to respect it, to drink with intention, not mindless repetition. Your heart needs hydration, yes, but it also needs space to breathe, to balance, to beat in peace. Talk to your doctor about your fluid needs. Notice how your body feels after every glass. And above all, remember this. Health isn't just about what you consume, it's about how, when, and why you consume it. Even water in excess or at the wrong rhythm can blur your body's own natural beat. It's the last thing you reach for before bed. A habit, a comfort, a ritual to soften the edges of a long day. For many seniors, it's warm milk, a calming tea, or even a small glass of wine, something to help you relax, unwind, and ease into sleep. But what you may not realize is that certain bedtime beverages, while soothing in the moment, can quietly disrupt your heart's rhythm in the hours that follow. Not just your sleep, but the actual electrical pattern that keeps your heart beating through the night. Let's talk about alcohol first. Even a single glass, especially red wine, can trigger nighttime arrhythmias in older adults. You might not notice it as a jolt or a scare, but your heart does. Alcohol interferes with your body's natural circadian rhythms, increases adrenaline output in the early morning hours, and can dehydrate you as you sleep. Combine that with medications or mild heart disease, and your heart may begin to beat irregularly at exactly the time you're supposed to be resting. What should be restoration becomes quiet cardiac stress. Even non-alcoholic choices can pose a problem. Many herbal teas, such as valerian or passion flower, while known for their calming properties, can also interact with medications, especially blood pressure pills or sedatives. When these compounds overlap, blood pressure may drop too low during sleep, slowing the heart's pace unnaturally and risking dangerous pauses in rhythm. Seniors with underlying conduction issues or those using CPAP machines may be especially vulnerable. You think you're helping your sleep, but your heart may be struggling to keep its rhythm in the silence. The message isn't to eliminate nighttime drinks, it's to choose them with care. A warm, non-caffeinated, non-alcoholic and low-sugar drink can still offer peace without pressure. Always consult your doctor before introducing herbal teas and limit alcohol to special occasions, because after 60, your heart is more sensitive to nightfall than you may realize. As the world winds down, so does your internal clock. And the last thing you consume, whether calming or chaotic, can shape how your heart beats until morning. Make sure that beat is gentle, steady, and free of strain. You pour it thinking of vitamins, a splash of orange with breakfast, a glass of cranberry to cleanse, maybe a bit of apple with lunch. These drinks feel like wise choices, natural, nutritious, even medicinal. And for years, you've trusted them. But what few tell you is that these seemingly healthy juices can become a trap for the aging heart. Not because fruit is bad, but because concentrated juice, especially when consumed daily, delivers sugar, potassium, and acid loads in a form your body, at this age, may no longer handle with ease. Fruit juice strips away the fiber. What's left behind is often a rush of fructose, absorbed rapidly into the bloodstream. This spike raises blood sugar and insulin, and in many seniors, that alone can destabilize blood pressure and heart rhythm. But it doesn't stop there. Some juices, like orange or tomato, are also high in potassium. A vital mineral, yes, but one that becomes dangerous in excess, especially for those on ACE inhibitors or potassium-sparing diuretics. Your heart relies on just the right balance of potassium to fire its electrical signals. Too much and it begins to misfire. Then there's the acid. Citrus juices, despite their benefits, are highly acidic and can irritate the stomach lining, leading to indigestion, reflux, and disturbed sleep. But more importantly, chronic overconsumption can contribute to electrolyte imbalance and even damage tooth enamel, an indirect but very real stressor on overall cardiovascular health. It adds up, slowly, silently, until the rhythm falters, until the heart, already managing so many variables, suddenly beats off track and you're left wondering what went wrong. The shift isn't about eliminating fruit, it's about respecting how your body processes it now. Whole fruits, eaten with meals, allow for slower absorption and more complete nutrition. A whole apple feeds you differently than a cup of apple juice. The pulp, the fiber, the natural pacing of digestion, they all matter. So before you fill that glass, ask yourself, is this truly nourishing me or overwhelming me? Your heart knows the answer. Listen closely, because the drink that once helped you feel alive could now, if left unchecked, quietly be pulling your rhythm apart. You grab it without thinking, a bottle of water from the fridge, the store, or your nightstand. It's the safest choice, right? No sugar, no caffeine, no calories, just pure hydration. And for many seniors, bottled water has become a daily staple. But here's a truth few people speak about. Not all bottled water is created equal. And some varieties, especially those marketed as enhanced or alkaline, may do more than quench your thirst. They may slowly interfere with your heart's rhythm, your medication's effectiveness, and your body's delicate mineral balance. Start with the basics: mineral content. Some bottled waters are naturally high in sodium or calcium. For a young, healthy person, that may not matter. But for someone over 60, especially managing blood pressure, kidney function, or heart medications, these extra minerals can become dangerous. Sodium in particular can contribute to water retention, raising blood pressure and stressing the heart. If your heart has ever felt heavy, your legs swollen, or your rhythm off without clear cause, consider this. Your daily water might be part of the puzzle. Then there are the alkaline waters. Marketed as anti-inflammatory or detoxifying, they promise to neutralize acidity and bring balance. But balance is exactly what they may disrupt. The heart's electrical system relies on precise pH levels to function. Too much alkalinity over time, especially if paired with low stomach acid or digestion issues, can affect mineral absorption, particularly magnesium and calcium. Without enough magnesium, your heart's rhythm becomes erratic. What you thought was healing may be shifting your body into imbalance. Even pure bottled water can pose risks when overconsumed without electrolytes, leading to a state called hyponatremia or low blood sodium. This condition causes confusion, fatigue, and in extreme cases, irregular heartbeat. It's rare, but seniors are more vulnerable. You're doing the right thing by staying hydrated. But the type and timing of hydration now matter more than ever. Not all clear bottles bring clarity. Some bring quiet complications. So take a moment to read the label, to notice how your body feels after you drink. Your heart is paying attention. Make sure what you sip is truly helping it stay in tune. You made the switch. You listened to the warnings about caffeine, so you chose the safer path, decaf. It feels like a compromise, a way to enjoy the ritual without the risk. For many seniors, it becomes the trusted option, a warm cup in the morning, a cozy drink after dinner. But here's the lesser-known truth. Decaf isn't as harmless as it seems, and for a heart that has grown more sensitive with time, even this choice can carry quiet consequences that ripple through your rhythm long after the cup is empty. Decaffeinated coffee still contains small amounts of caffeine, often enough to matter when your heart is vulnerable or when you're on medications that alter its pacing. More importantly, the process used to remove caffeine can leave behind chemical residues like methylene chloride or ethyl acetate, especially in non-organic brands. These residues may be present in trace amounts, but trace is enough when your system is already working over time. They've been linked to nervous system irritation, which can heighten stress responses and for some lead to heart palpitations, anxiety, or sleep disturbances. And then there's the acidity. Decaf coffee tends to be just as acidic as its caffeinated counterpart. For seniors with digestive sensitivity, this can trigger reflux, which not only disturbs sleep, but can also stimulate the vagus nerve, an important nerve that connects the gut and the heart. Stimulation here can cause abrupt changes in heart rate, particularly while lying down. You may feel your pulse skip. You may wake up in the night with your chest fluttering, and you may never suspect that your harmless decaf is contributing to the disruption. This doesn't mean you must abandon comfort, but it does mean you need to redefine it. If your daily cup is leaving you jittery, breathless, or foggy, it's not a minor side effect. It's your body signaling change. Consider switching to low-acid herbal alternatives like roasted chicory or warm carob blends. They satisfy the ritual without taxing your rhythm, because even decaf, when misunderstood or misused, can whisper instability into the one beat you cannot live without. And that beat deserves more than a convenient habit. It deserves care. It deserves discernment. It deserves you. You rise each morning and reach for the same familiar pair, your drink and your medication. Maybe it's your thyroid pill with a glass of tea. Maybe it's your heart medicine with orange juice. Maybe it's your diuretic with coffee swallowed before breakfast even hits the table. It feels like routine, like discipline. But what if this quiet habit is quietly undoing everything your medicine is trying to fix? What if the drink you choose to wash it down is changing how your body absorbs the very thing meant to protect it? Certain compounds in tea, juice, and even coffee can interfere with medication absorption. Citrus juices like grapefruit or orange are especially notorious. They contain enzymes that block the breakdown of medications, causing them to linger longer in your bloodstream and potentially accumulate to unsafe levels. For seniors on statins, calcium channel blockers, or blood thinners, this interaction isn't theoretical, it's dangerous. Your heart may race, you might bruise easily, you could feel dizzy, off balance, or short of breath without ever knowing why. And it all starts with the drink you never questioned. Even coffee can alter absorption. Its natural acidity affects stomach pH, and that can weaken the uptake of certain medications like levothyroxine for thyroid or bisphosphonates for bone health. If your heart meds aren't being properly absorbed, you could be left unprotected when you need them most. Worse, some teas, especially green and black, contain tannins, which bind with iron and other minerals, reducing their availability. Over time, this can lead to nutrient depletion, fatigue, or even subtle rhythm issues as your body loses the building blocks it needs to keep everything in sync. The fix isn't drastic, but it is deliberate. Use water, pure and room temperature, as your medication partner. Wait 30 to 60 minutes before consuming anything acidic or caffeinated. Let your body fully absorb what it needs before adding any interference. These simple shifts protect the fragile balance your medications are trying to achieve, because at this stage, it's not just about taking your pills, it's about how you take them. Your drink is more than a swallow, it's a signal. Make sure it's one your heart can trust. You've made it this far, and that alone means something. You've survived decades of noise, habit, and well-meaning advice, some of it right, some of it wrong. You've learned to trust what's familiar. But now, at this stage in life, your body is asking for a deeper kind of attention, a new kind of listening. Because what you drink each day, the liquid routines you barely think about, can either soften your rhythm into peace or push it closer to collapse. And the power to choose which path you follow still belongs to you. Your heart isn't failing you, it's adapting, it's speaking, and in every flutter, every pause, every odd beat in the silence of the night, it's trying to tell you something, that your rhythm isn't set in stone, that it still responds to care, to change, to better choices. The drinks you once tolerated with ease may now be leaving ripples in your system. Caffeine that overstays its welcome, sugar that inflames more than it sweetens, additives, acids, diuretics, all small enough to hide, but loud enough to shake your pulse from steady to scattered. That's not weakness, that's a call for wisdom. And wisdom means looking at your cup with new eyes. It means pausing before you pour. reading labels you once ignored, replacing old comforts with new rituals that actually serve your body now, not the body you had 20 years ago. It's choosing herbal teas that support, not suppress, waters that hydrate, not confuse. It's eating your fruits whole instead of drinking them in a rush of sugar. It's spacing your medications and sips so they don't cancel each other out. These are not restrictions, they're recalibrations, adjustments made by someone strong enough to learn again, someone who wants to keep going, not just living, but thriving. So as you stand at the sink, at the fridge, at the cafe counter tomorrow morning, remember this: every sip is a decision. Every drink is a message to your heart. Make it a message of clarity, of kindness, of rhythm reclaimed. Because the collapse is not inevitable, the pulse is not doomed, and your next heartbeat, steady, smooth, unshaken, can begin with something as simple, as sacred, as what you choose to drink.